Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing great. Looking forward to the show. We're going to be joined by our great friend, Derek Gervin, former New Jersey Nets shooting guard, veteran of the National Basketball Association. And we got to give Derek his props, man. Just inducted into the University of Texas San Antonio Hall of Fame. So that's going to be cool. Talk to D about the his induction, and tonight's the start of the NBA season. Yay!
Hey, I'm wearing my Celtics green, bringing out everything green that I can possibly have in celebration of the start, and looking forward to the Celtics.
Are they at home tonight? Did they get their rings at home?
They got the rings at like at 7 o'clock. They had a pregame ceremony. They had the banner go up in the rafters, and some of the old head Celtics were there to partake in it. They obviously are feeding off of it because they're ahead of the Knicks by 25 in the third quarter. It's an ugly game. So maybe that'll be something to talk about if they're still the team to beat when Derek comes on.
This is the crazy time of year, Tree. NFL football, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, the World Series. Am I missing anything?
Well, I was just about to say that. I was like, with the NBA starting tonight, all 4 seasons are going. It'll be like this until like February. Well, baseball drops out, but then spring training kicks in, and then it's going to be all 4 of them in there again. So this is the sports editor's nightmare. In addition to,
back in the day,
in addition to this, you got preps and college football, and then basketball seasons are starting up for colleges and high schools and stuff. So this is
dream. It's a dream.
It's a dream if you got cable, I guess. If that's the case. So it's a big deal. But
you know what I think is going under the radar is the World Series.
Oh, it's not under the radar. Okay. If you say so, Rick, I know I'm ignoring it because.
Oh, so you're just ignoring it?
Why?
I was rooting for Cleveland and San Diego because those network executives will be losing their minds to have 2 markets like that in the World Series. Netflix has already commissioned a documentary of this World Series.
Wow.
A game hadn't been played yet, but it's New York versus LA, Judge versus Ohtani. That thing, the coast to coast thing, and Brooklyn Dodgers, New York Yankees stuff. I mean, it's all gonna be so sickening after a while. That's why I'll be doing something else and not paying attention.
Where you watch the documentary when it comes out.
Yeah, right. Nope. No.
Oh, man.
It's funny you said that, Tim, because maybe I just missed it. It seems like I just hadn't heard a lot about the matchup. It's a classic matchup. Not that I definitely don't want to see it, but I get it. The 2 franchises involved.
It's the first time since like the 80s or early 90s that those 2 have been matched up. And so we're going to get every bit of minutia about both teams, especially from Bob Costas, who lives and breathes in his Yankees, adjacent PR guy who knows everything and all things Yankee. So it'll be kind of nauseous for this thing, all the playbacks.
I'm sure we'll see Reggie's
3 homers. Yeah. Because I think he did do it against the Dodgers, didn't he? Yeah.
Although that was actually pretty cool.
Absolutely.
All of them were first pitch.
Yeah.
All of them were first pitch.
Mr. October. That's going to be kind of sweet. The Dodgers, the good thing about it for the Dodgers is they'll be healed by then. I think Freddie Freeman has some sort of injury. He looked like a 90-year-old man out there, and he didn't even play in the last game 6. So whatever is ailing him, he's probably resting it since the series doesn't start until Friday. So,
Hey, was that you telling the story about somebody didn't know who Reggie was, and he told them, and he spelled out, "My name is Mr. October."
no, that wasn't me.
But that sounded like him.
But it does sound like Reggie. Reggie was honorary chairman for it. When my first year we did an Aflac All-American down in San Diego. He was honorary chairman, and then for most of the time there, he was pushing me to get him in one of those Aflac duck commercials.
Did you have that kind of juice?
I had zero juice in those commercials. He said, but then he comes up and says, "Well, I'm sort of a brand too, And that was all I needed to know.
You couldn't help a brother out? You couldn't help a brother out?
He says, "I'm a brand." That's what.
Is that what he told you, man?
Yes, he did. I'm a brand too. So beyond that, it was
Mr. October.
That was interesting.
He told the security guy, "My name is Mr. October. Let me in this joint."
Beyond that, he was just a prince of a guy, really approachable, really good dude. And you root for people like that who don't, it comes off sometimes as being extremely arrogant, but down when you get him away from being on, he's a really good dude. So
it's good to know.
That doesn't make me a Yankee fan though, or a Dodger fan. I think Rick, you guys are in Detroit. You got kind of bummed when your Tigers got knocked out. It's probably why nobody's talking about it there in Detroit.
We're still shocked they even made it in.
And then you guys took care of the Vikings this weekend, so that's another thing there.
Yeah, Lions are good, man. I mean, I can't. Tree, I'm so accustomed to Detroit being terrible at football. I really don't know how to understand. This is 2 or 3 years now. They are very, very good. I'm like,
your excitement about it is contagious. So now I'm pulled for them.
They are a fun team.
And I'm a bandwagoner, so there's that.
You better hop off now because the wheels about to fall off. We got a 2-game suspension for one dude, and we lose Hutchinson for the year, right?
Yeah, but that offense, man. J-Mo did not catch a single pass Saturday. They got Tennessee this weekend. So they won't miss him against Tennessee. They'll need him next week when they go to Green Bay. But they, as I told you before, the one thing they can do is run the football. And that's what they did to the Vikings. They just ran it down their throat. And when play action and Goff is so accurate when you protect him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, but speaking of football, man, it was some great college games over the weekend. And why don't we start there? The matchup between Georgia and Texas. Texas got their welcome to the SEC.
I saw a meme that showed there was like these people, Texas and Oklahoma both were Bradley Cooper in the Hangover, where he says, "Hey, we messed up." Oklahoma and Texas both have been getting crushed in the SEC. South Carolina beat Oklahoma like it stole something, and then Georgia.
Fired the coach.
Oh yeah, and then Georgia had its way with Texas there. That was one of the early plays because there weren't many like that afterwards. But that was an outstanding interception.
Texas is a good football team.
It is, but it's not. But it's let the people know
Georgia's just on another level, man.
There are no soft teams in the SEC, and I used to be able to say except for Vandy, but hey, you can't say
Vandy's ranked in the top 25. Come on, man. What is going on here? Everybody's
good this year. Now you can just say there's no soft games in the SEC except Florida. Put it that way.
I love watching Georgia play. I mean, the job Kirby Smart has done there is really phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. He's turned it around, and I thought Sark had a more like an SEC team, the way Texas was playing before now. And people really did say, yeah, y'all are 6-0, but you hadn't played nobody yet. And that to me would have been an insult. But they're 6-1 now. After playing somebody who's tough in Georgia, they shouldn't have lost to Alabama, but they did. So they should be undefeated as is, and they're back at number 2. And Oregon's undefeated. Oregon's number 1. Who's a coach who's used to be the OC at Georgia. So
what was his name?
Lanning.
Okay.
Stan Lanning, I think is his name.
Yeah.
So,
he's the guy that kind of put it on
Dion.
Coach Prime last year.
Yeah.
When they came to town.
But see, then too, US flip over to Coach Prime. They're 5-2 this year, okay?
Yeah.
One more game from being bowl eligible.
Yeah.
So that's in 2 years, he's taking them from a trash program to potentially going to the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl or something. That's a step up.
I still don't see. I still don't see how. I think Travis Hunter. They did not play him a lot last weekend.
He didn't play him at all. He didn't dress.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was out there for.
No,
he did not play. Okay.
I saw him in a hoodie, a black hoodie. I'm like, okay. So he just essentially said, Arizona is a garbage team. I don't need you.
And they went out and beat him. So I know he's supposed to be back in the lineup this week. But when I was watching the Tennessee-Georgia game, and they kept talking about Jalen Milroe. I'm sorry, Tennessee and Alabama. Yeah. And they kept talking about Milroe as this Heisman. I'm like, dude, he's probably the 3rd or 4th quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, he's not that special. He had a special game against Georgia, though. I mean, a mobile quarterback, big guy, big arm, really a really good talent. But Tennessee made him look very ordinary, made Alabama look ordinary. And, they're already, even before the game, had a dinner with Cousins the night before, and they're already upset with him. The loss to Vandy is unforgivable. Then to lose to Tennessee. I mean, my goodness. So they're already up in arms. This is the earliest lost 2 games in ages.
They're 0 for Tennessee. Come on, man. Come on, Bama.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my other team. Well, what's up, Bama?
Come on now.
You win some, you lose some.
Well, the Celtics will more than make up for it for you. I believe.
I think so.
They will.
My allegiance to teams is all over the place.
But it's going to be fun with the expansion of the playoffs to see who gets in and who doesn't. I mean, you talk about down the pressure is Sharon Moore over in Ann Arbor, not too far from here.
Mm.
They looked awful the other day against Illinois.
I didn't watch. Did they lose to Illinois?
Yeah, they lost 21-7, and it wasn't even that close.
Lost to Texas, lost to Illinois. They hadn't played Ohio State yet, so
Ohio State's looking for some payback. I mean, you knew with the talent, I think they had like 10 or 11 guys drafted, not even counting free agents. Harbaugh knew when to get out of there, but to leave their quarterback room in such bad shape is.
I can see that being an excuse, saying they lost so many people. That's Alabama every year. Every year,
but they're not Alabama.
That's what I'm saying. Every year they lose 10 people. It's like, nobody's crying because he lost 10 players. Alabama and Georgia lose 10 every year. They're still in the top 5. They're still playing for championships.
Yeah, man, that's a different animal, man. You talking about them cats.
But then you look at what you call it. Indiana is undefeated this year, which is blowing my mind. And I heard a stat today about them, which I just find just crazy. They have not trailed in a game for a single minute this year. Wow. In 6 or 7 games, they've been ahead and kept the lead the entire season.
That's impressive.
Here's a stat that I just heard today, jumping around the NFL, and I see our friend Derek Gurdon's here and D, we're about to bring you on. In the last 4 games, Jared Goff has thrown more touchdown passes than incompletions.
Wow.
He's thrown 18 touchdowns and 16 incompletions in the last 4 games. That's a heater right there. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of anything like that.
Okay. Conversely, the first 2 seasons, in the the last 2 previous seasons, for the entire year, Wilson, the former quarterback of the Jets, has thrown 7 interceptions each of the last 2 years in 16 game seasons. Aaron Rodgers has already thrown 7 interceptions in 7 games. So and he's trying to throw everybody else under the bus all the time.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
He looks so sad.
As he should. He looks beat the dragon.
Oh, it is?
Uh-oh.
You're lying,
Come on. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, we can give you a couple more minutes if you need it, man.
Say it again, Ricky.
We can give you a couple more minutes.
Oh, no, I'm good now. I'll have to check out looking at this schedule for my college, UTSA.
Speaking of, well, welcome, Derek. Seems like I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah,
it is.
It's good. You are?
I think it's coming from you, girl.
Wow. Let me try, Julie. Hey, Ricky, can you send me? Well, I would like to do it on my computer.
Okay, you want me to send you another link?
Yeah. Can you send it to?
Okay.
But the only problem. Okay.
Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, live podcast.
Well, the last time somebody had technical difficulties, they started just swaying the music on the stage. We don't want to
name no names.
We ain't calling no names, but we don't want to do that.
Who might that be? A man whose name I don't use.
Yeah.
Just that man.
The man who took the Hamburglar's job at McDonald's.
And
another felon took the job for the Hamburglar at McDonald's.
He was pretending to work at McDonald's and it was closed.
Supposedly there was he gave somebody some fries because that person was on, of course, Fox News Channel today, talking to her about what the experience was like to get handed some fries from this man.
Such a non-story. And I think they were pre-selected people, is what I read.
Oh, of course.
Oh, of course, because the brother pulled up there, they'd been like, these fries are cold. Give me another one.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Exactly. When they put out another foolishness, hey man, these things cold.
I mean, he's pretending to work at McDonald's. She worked at McDonald's for real.
Which is offensive to people who actually are doing that job for the pay that they're getting. Somebody getting up there pretending. It's not Halloween.
Yeah.
Where'd you go as? A McDonald's person.
Come on, man.
And as a former McDonald's employee, I'm offended by that.
There you go. See that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not right. I didn't get to pretend.
But we were talking a little bit about the national football. I'm so mad at your Falcons, doggone it. Tim.
All I say is this, bro. They got to stay in the they got to stay in the AFC. Excuse me, they got to stay in the NFC because they can't beat the AFC teams. Every team they talk to has been in the AFC.
You know another remarkable stat tree?
No,
Lamar Jackson versus the NFC. He just went to 23-1 last night when the Ravens beat what did they beat up on? The Buccaneers.
Yeah. I kind of want to thank the Ravens for what they did. The Falcons played the Bucs this week, and they lost their top 2 receivers last night. Mike Mike Evans is out for 3 games with a pulled hamstring, and Godwin is gone for the year with a busted ankle.
Yeah.
And so that made their offense just sputter. And people, the thing about it was so bad last night too. The post-game interviews, Tampa had come back and gotten it within 10 with like about 4 minutes to go in the game. And people a lot of the media were questioning the coach for having Godwin out there. You know, it's like, are we supposed to quit with 4 minutes to go in the game?
Right.
They were down 31 to something, whatever, and pulled it with 31-21. And they're trying to come back. And they're like, why is he still in the game? Which is insane. But they made it seem like the Coach Bowles put him in harm's way. And I just don't get that.
Hey, I'm sure you guys saw the situation at Cleveland with Deshaun Watson tearing his Achilles and being booed by the Browns fans as he was going off the field. There's a lot with Deshaun Watson, but nonetheless, that was your quarterback that got injured. And I understand the frustration with him. I understand the frustrations with his personal life. But man, I still think you can't boo the man because he's hurt.
Yeah, I'm like, what's wrong with people? I ask that question almost every day about some situation. But yeah.
What's wrong with people?
What's wrong with people?
Abercrombie & Fitch former CEO. What's wrong with
people? Wrong with people?
Diddy, what's
wrong with people? If true.
What are your thoughts on that, Trey? To see a guy seriously injured, they had to bring the card out. Everybody knows in football when they bring the card out, that's a serious.
I mean, I didn't see much of football this weekend because I was at G-Ho, the greatest homecoming on earth. But I did see that, and I read about it, and I was thinking, I think I saw the clips about it, and I didn't understand why people would, I don't know. Could we blame it on the alcohol or I'm not sure what.
That's part of it. I think people are juiced up and then they resent somebody pulling down the millions of dollars that he's pulled down and has not made one bit of difference with the Cleveland offense. Granted, they have not had their full slate of folks the past couple of years. Nick Chubb played his first game in about a year after coming off a really horrific knee injury.
But an injured player, you boo him? I don't get that.
I don't think it's ever right to boo somebody for injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's never right. No, irrespective of how badly you feel about him, because that guy's, that he's putting himself out there for you. He's wearing your uniform, wearing your colors, trying to represent your team, and you get out there and get out over that, and you wonder how much of it is resentment because he's a brother. I don't see when anybody. I mean, like, nobody booed Hutchinson when he got injured, did they?
Yeah, I don't like it.
He got an ovation, and
right.
I think people are mad about that $246 million he got.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's not it. We're supposed to turn that down.
Yeah.
And let's say so. And we got our friend Derek Gervin back. D. Gerv, first and foremost, congratulations to you, man, on your induction to the University of Texas, San Antonio Hall of Fame. We're going to get to that. But as a former professional athlete playing the NBA, you've been in crowds, you've been in the garden, people yelling, cussing at you. Where's that line when an athlete is injured or whatever in terms of the relationship with the fans?
Well, first I want to say thank you for talking about my Hall of Fame. That's big. So I want to thank you, Tim and Miss Tree. Wow. I don't know. The Deshaun Watson, I had a problem with the situation, but people are who they are. That's a character flaw in a lot of people. When you're upset about, a guy didn't play well this season, maybe last season or whenever, maybe not even your entire career. But when you start cheering for people that are getting hurt, a ruptured Achilles, that just goes to show the person that you're dealing with. So we know there's a lot of fans out there that are good fans, and then you have what I'll call the others. And so I just thought it was really just terrible behavior. I wish the young man well yesterday. And as you saw when they took him off the field, when they carted him off, he was in tears. Mm-hmm. And, so his career could be over because we already know he had the other injury with the shoulder, I believe it was. And then now you compound it. He wasn't playing well. We all know that. And some people still want to hold it against him, about the situations with the late massage therapist. But when it comes to getting hurt, I put all that aside, Ricky. The things that have happened in his life have happened. There's nothing we can do about it. But when you start clapping for people that get injured, and not only the fans, people in your own city, I mean, that's terrible, man. And I wouldn't wish that on any human being in any sport. And I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous, appalling behavior.
I agree.
I wonder how much of it is born of sports talk radio as well. And I say that, I preface it that because I hate listening to stations out of New York and Philly when their teams lose, just to hear their fans complain and whine about everything. When the Eagles play bad, Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in the history of the football sport itself. Anytime somebody plays awful for the Phillies, they want to blow up the Phillies because they got beat before they made it to the World Series. New York, when the Mets lose, it's magical a run they had in the postseason. When they eventually lost, people talked about them like they were like the Florida Marlins or something. They really just dogged them. And sports talk people egg these folks on. And I wonder how much of that is in Cleveland as well, where I can't see any player ever listening to the radio or watching television while the season goes on, because you hear things about yourself you didn't even know.
Hey, Tim, can I say this? And I'm going to be honest. We on African-American athletes, so I'm going to put it out there like it is. Would you hear these same people clapping if it was Aaron Rodgers or Clay Matthews Jr.? I'm just saying. They seem to compound it when there's a lot of black athletes. And you even saw it with Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark's attitude is just as bad as Angel Reese. They both have maturing to do, but you would swear that Caitlin Clark is the most well-behaved person in the league.
Well, see, that's why, as Rick did, what happened when Hutchinson got hurt? Was he booed when he got hurt? That's because it's a difference.
For him. We hope you get well, Aiden.
Exactly.
They went enemy territory. He got.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But, it's like, that
I think some of the resentment is the money that guys make. Yeah.
But they don't resent other cats making money.
And some of it is the blackness for sure. I mean,
because this, I'm gonna take it off the field. This is the resentment I had, and I had a problem here in the house because it was like he was signed for his brand. But this is the deal: Tom Brady signs a 10-year, $350 million contract to do sports on Fox. He becomes the owner of the Raiders and has like about a list of 9 different things that people doing his job have to be able to do that job that he can't do now because he's part owner. He can't go to the team's facilities.
Ain't go on the field.
Can't go on the field. He can't do anything with the players. It's essentially you are cut off except to be maybe watching game film on your own time and working on Sundays. Mm-hmm. Who else is going to be paid $35 million a year for 10 years to do the bare minimum of a job?
Maybe Tony Romo. No.
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Do you think they do that for Warren Moon or Doug Williams or anybody else that's a Hall of Fame quarterback? You think they do that for those cats?
No, we're undervalued.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all this dude got to do really is just show up on Sunday.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he's terrible, Ricky. I'm sorry, Tim. He's terrible too.
I didn't want to mention
absolutely horrible. I love Tom, but come on, man.
I thought
that terrible.
the kid that he replaced. Gosh, I'm losing his name now. The tight end he replaced that was there last year working.
Oh yeah,
Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen for the
yeah, I thought he was great. He is still great, and I just thought they did him wrong. So, that's part of that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, D, we want to get you on here, man. To go into the Hall of Fame, your number's already retired. Nobody will ever wear that number at UTSA again, unless I guess you could give somebody the approval to wear that.
I'm not giving anybody approvals. Too many other numbers out there.
It's numbers between 1 and 99, brother. 1 and 99.
Pick a number, any number but my number.
Yes. I will not be wearing that one again.
I hear you on that one, brother.
Yeah,
Pick 31 if you want.
You wear 29, 31, 301. I can care less. You're not wearing 30.
Yeah, somebody in the stands wearing it bought it in the bookstore.
And that's the problem. And I plan on doing some stuff with that number anyway. But I think they give me enough respect. I've been at that school. I was there 42 years ago, starting 42 years ago. So at least give me the respect. I'm going in. A lot of people thought I should already have been in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, stuff happens. But as far as my jersey, I'm gonna soak it up, and I don't want to see anybody else wearing my number.
We absolutely should be soaking it up. Yeah.
There you go. Now, as a Hall of Famer, that probably you can opine with a Hall of Fame perspective. Did you watch any of the WNBA finals?
I watched all of it. Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you think of the foul that sent the game into overtime?
A lot of people said it wasn't a foul, and it was very questionable. I thought that they. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Her on the right arm. I think she fouls her on the right arm. But watch the travel first. That was the biggest problem I had.
Yes.
Right. It's absolutely a trap. And we're watching highlights from Game 5. I think this is courtesy of ESPN.
Yeah.
But the WNBA, you can't even find a highlight of the last 5 minutes. They cut.
What I didn't like about
last
it,
5 seconds, they cut to Stewart at the free throw line, shooting the 2 free throws.
it was kind of, if you could tell, there was some bias, and I hate to say that because I wanted the New York Liberty to win the series, but I thought it was some bias. And even if you look at the free throw discrepancy, I believe it was like 27-8 or something like that.
Exactly. That was exactly
Jonquel Jones, and I love her, but she did a lot of pushing off when she was on the low post. She was actually wrapping her hand around the person that was guarding her. And, of course, we know about the play when she fell on Elena Smith.
Right.
And they bailed her out with that one. So I just didn't like to see the refs decide it. I wanted to see the best team win, and it kind of tainted the finish. It wasn't good the way it ended. And even that foul, even if it was a foul, I don't think it was enough of a foul to decide the game, for them to make that call. And, it was some bad calls on both sides. But that last play, when I looked at it over and over, they didn't call the travel, which it was obvious travel. So I hate to say it, it seemed like a little bias towards New York. They wanted New York to get their first title because I know they lost the first 5 finals they were in, and I just didn't like that finish. It kind of tainted the series.
They show Spike Lee so much. I thought Spike was coaching the Liberty.
He's also a Hall of Famer. So
I saw that. I love Spike.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
They put him as
Tim, Ricky, did y'all notice though? Jonquel really won by default. It was because she didn't play that great. I know they say she averaged 18 and 8, but she made a lot of turnovers trying to over dribble the ball, and it was basically that Brianna and Sabrina gave away. Yeah. They gave away the MVP, and the role players still don't get the respect that they deserve. The other players, as they call them, some people call them, carried that team, kept them in the game, and helped them win the game. And all they really talked about was Brianna, Sabrina, and Escu, and Jonquel. And I thought that was a disservice to the other ladies that were out there busting their behind.
Yeah, they played.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Poorly. If they had lost that game, I would have said it was because of Stewart and Ionescu.
Because Ionescu couldn't hit the side of a barn. She was having a really bad night.
They shot 14% between them.
Yeah.
But check this out, guys. Check this out. This is accurate.
Yeah.
Challenge. We have got to change our challenge rules, and the officials doing the game should have a third party, because that was not a foul. That call should have been reversed on that challenge. If we sent that clip in, well, first of all, Nafisa Collier, number of times that she's held, et cetera, and there's nothing down that end, right? Which we, it's kind of, for whatever reason in the series, that was kind of the way it was. But when at the other end, when we challenged it, if we would have turned that clip in, they would have told us that it was marginal contact, no foul. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So when you review, those should be the same parameters that you're reviewing with. But the three people that are on the game need a third party to let them know, because that decided the game. That decided the game. I know all the headlines will be Reeve cries foul. Bring it on, right? Bring it on, because this shit was stolen from us. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Said what she said.
Your thoughts, Dave?
I couldn't be mad at her for speaking up for her team. And I did have a problem with Nafisa Collier shooting 0 free throws. I think, she shot free throws every game in the series. And then you get to the last game, the deciding game. And so somehow she ends up shooting 0 free throws. I didn't like that. And to me, it looked like they were doing anything they could to keep Breanna Stewart in the game so she could get the MVP. And I thought the entire series, Collier D'd her up. And I'm the whole series. The Collier had her actually scared. And I saw it in the first game. It's like every time she guarded her, Breanna kind of disappeared and she started running away from the ball. But I didn't want to see it in that way, that like it went down at the end. I think both teams played fantastic. It was one of the best series I've ever seen. But I don't like how it ended because I wanted the teams to be able to decide the game.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought Collier was the best player in the series.
So did I.
You detect some New York bias. Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, I'm not trying to say it. I'm saying it. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, D, we got the NBA tipping off tonight. We've already had one game completed. The Celtics are about to knock off the Knicks. They're up 20-something with about a minute left. I actually thought this would be a little closer game, but it's game one. Everybody's getting their feet wet. What are you looking forward to watching as we go into the 24-25 NBA season?
Wow, that's a good question because I'm looking to see whose trades are going to help the most. Because, teams like Milwaukee kind of struggled last year. They weren't the Milwaukee we've become accustomed to. But they went out, they got rid of Drew Holiday. But this past summer, they acquired Gary Trent Jr. and Taurean Prince. And I think that's going to make them a more well-rounded team. It's going to be interesting. We know Embiid and Paul George are already sitting out. Embiid is going to be out the first week of the season. And so I'm interested to see who's going to be the best team. Boston, we know what Boston brings to the table. What is New York going to do after this game tonight? Because Mitchell Robinson at some point will be back. And it's going to be interesting, the Eastern Conference, and then, of course, the Western Conference. Tonight we look at the Lakers. A lot of people are interested in the Bronny James when Bronny hits the floor, if he hits the floor. And, of course, they play the Timberwolves, who a lot of people are picking to come out of the Western Conference. So it's going to be a very exciting year. It's about 6 teams already that could win it. You're looking at, of course, Oklahoma City. It's going to be better with Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. So it's going to be good. I just want to see how is Denver going to respond now that they lose Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They bring in Russell Westbrook. There's a lot of players that moved around. So the most important thing for me, and then I got mentioned the last one, Ja Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies. Now that they have Zach Edey, they brought Zach Edey on board. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams play. It's about about six teams that are really going to be a threat, and that's going to be very exciting, just like it was last year.
But what about Tim's Atlanta Hawks?
You talking to me now?
Yeah,
Enough said. That long pause said it all. Never moving on.
Now, what's going on with these colors, Ms. Tree? Because I just saw you cheer for Boston. You got your green on.
Yeah.
Tim has on red, and the Hawks got some red in them.
This is baseball, man. This is Hank Aaron.
This is the question with Atlanta. Seriously, are they going to even be a play-in team? Because they got rid of, DeJounte Murray has moved on to New Orleans. So that's going to be interesting. I was wondering would they trade Trae Young, but I figured only one guy would go. But if the Hawks don't do well this year, if they don't make the I'm going to say if they're not a top 6 team this year, Trae Young is going to be moved next season. So that's going to be interesting too, just to see who stays and who goes.
He should have been gone this year. I would have kept Murray. They won a lot with Murray. The team played better with Murray. Trae is one-dimensional, throwing up shots from the logo. End of story. He's not a winner.
Well, he gets 10 assists, but to me they're not what I'll call meaningful assists.
No,
they're not assists that make the team better, and that's what I think people get away from. Yeah, he played good, 26 points and 10 assists, but ordinarily that'll get you on one of the all NBA teams, and it hasn't worked for Trae because they know that they're not impactful stats.
Well, the players know that because they ranked the top point guards, and he was ranked 12th. Or the top guards, and he was ranked 12th. He was ranked 12th in the Eastern Conference, not in the NBA.
Wow.
He was ranked by his peers, ranked him 12th.
Wow.
Okay? So you got the guys who playing against you, zero respect for you. That's the kind of thing you talk about. But you forgot to mention one team, and I see a spur on your shirt. Are they not going to be better this year?
Yeah, they're going to be better because they won 22 games last year, but they're not going to be much better.
23? Is that what you
I give them 30 wins because you got Chris Paul, and every team he's went to that he's played for, they've improved. Several games, and I just think Victor having another year of experience. But if you guys look at that roster, and Ms. Tree, you look at that roster, you don't know 75% of the guys on that roster. And then you got a rookie coming in this coming year that they from Connecticut. They want Stephen Castle. We don't know what to expect from him. Harrison Barnes hasn't looked the same. It looked like age is catching up to him, and they just don't have a good roster. So I'm being nice saying 30 games because they playing in the Western Conference, and the Western Conference is going to be really, really tough. So I'll say 30 games.
Nobody's even mentioned Golden State. or the Lakers. Golden State, the two teams you get up there, and from what I understand, you're talking about tonight. If Bronny plays with LeBron, also gonna at the game. His game is in Minnesota. Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. will also be at the game because I saw a clip today earlier where as a gift from Nike allowed had Ken Griffey Jr. to go to Cleveland and watch LeBron's first ever game. And so it's like a full circle type thing. And LeBron's been thinking about it since he saw Ken Griffey Jr. hit back-to-back home runs that one night in Seattle, which was just an incredible feat. So it's coming full circle.
LeBron's dunk has never looked as sweet as the kids swing. So
but you the first time you played against George in an NBA game had to be pretty special.
Well, we played against each other. George, we played against each other in the CBA, his last year of his career.
Okay.
But it was just a special playing against your brother. But I know a lot of people are getting on LeBron. They don't like the situation with LeBron doing what he did for his son. I can't argue that because any man or woman, if they had the opportunity to do that for their child, they would do it. I just don't I'm wondering now, is LeBron focused on winning championships or is he focused on making history being the first son and father tandem? So that's going to be interesting. And nobody is talking about the Lakers as far as being a championship contender. And if you look at their roster, they didn't upgrade very much. They got Dalton Connect. He played well in the preseason. But as you know now, when he ramps up in the regular season, it's a different ball game. So if you look at Golden State and the Lakers, I don't have either one of them as one of the top teams. The Golden State brought in Buddy Hield, which I don't think is going to upgrade. He doesn't move the needle for me. They still don't know their situation as far as Kuminga and Moses Moody and these guys. Kerr has had trouble figuring it out ever since. Nobody's talked about that. Ever since Mike Brown left, Steve Kerr has been a mediocre coach. And nobody's addressed that. The Warriors don't make in-game adjustments. And so I don't take them or the Lakers very serious with all these other young teams, these young thoroughbreds out there that continue to get better. And that includes Houston. That includes New Orleans.
Sacramento.
Those teams, Sacramento, with DeMar DeRozan.
Yes.
So the Lakers and Golden State, to me, they have some catching up to do.
Oh, well, the East obviously is only like 3 teams, right? New York, Boston, and Milwaukee, right?
Well, we don't know. We never know with Embiid and Paul George. I mean, but you got to remember this, Tim. Indiana was a surprise team last year. They knocked off the Knicks. And I think Orlando's going to be better as well. I don't think they're championship worthy yet, but these teams could knock off another team. You know how the upsets happen on the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's what's going to be interesting to me to see if any of those teams, Cleveland Cavaliers, how they respond. And have you guys heard of possible
Miami?
Ricky, have you in Miami? I think it's still Miami. Jimmy Butler. They're talking about if things don't go well, about him maybe being moved to the Knicks before the season is over. But have you guys heard the possible Kevin Durant rumor for Evan Mobley and Darius Garland?
No.
I have not.
Well, I'm just putting a little insight out there. If you guys
Would you do that if you're
things don't
Cleveland?
go well, don't be surprised if you start hearing rumblings about a Kevin Durant, because you can't really get rid of Bradley Beal.
No.
His salary. So
Would
really,
you-
we're not going to move Devin Booker. So the only guy that could be moved out of that threesome would be Kevin Durant.
Would you
And
make
if he's
that move?
moved, don't be surprised if it's to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and Evan Mobley.
Would you do that? If you're
I
Cleveland?
don't think it works with KD and Devin Booker and Garland because they play. I mean, and Bradley Beal. They brought in Tyus Jones, but when I watched them play, Tyus Jones was basically playing off the ball, and they brought him in to be the point guard. So I don't think the Booker, Beal, and KD thing works. We saw that with KD, Harden, and Kyrie.
Why is
And
he
I
always the odd man out, though? See, he
that again.
moves more than anybody.
KD?
Yeah, he goes from Brooklyn, he goes to Phoenix, he goes to OKC. I mean, everywhere he moves around. Only place it seemed like he was successful was Golden State.
KD, to me, KD has proven the only time he proved he was a winner was with the prime Steph, and Clay was still playing well, and you had Draymond, and don't forget we had Iguodala and those guys.
Yeah,
I don't think KD is the type of guy that could get you over the hump as your main player. I really don't. And even if he were to go to play with Donovan Mitchell, I think that makes them a better team, but I still don't think it makes them a contender because we've seen KD. He can become a malcontent on the floor. He's the kind of guy, if he's not getting the ball, he's not happy. And he has a habit of going and standing over in that corner and, okay, we'll just let these guys do it. I've seen him do that too many times. And I think that's just who he is. So I don't think him going to Cleveland would help, and I don't think him staying in Phoenix is going to do much for them.
How long has he been in the league now?
Oh, boy, KD been in there about
17
14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 15, because he's about 35 now. He came in the league as about a 19-year-old, I believe.
Didn't he start with Seattle, right? Gives you an idea how long ago it was. He was a supersonic.
Yes.
I think it's 17. I'll look that up.
But the three-headed monster in Kansas in OKC, we had him and Westbrook and the Beard, and I understand that I'm thinking of and he's still with the Clippers now, but those three guys couldn't get together and win a championship. Did Durant ever play in Houston? Or was that all been?
That was a rumor that they were going to bring him to Houston at the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
So that's another rumor. They're going to send him there, but I think they had to give up Şengün So they shot that down. But yeah, KD is a guy might end up playing with 9 or 10 teams before his career is over.
16 years in the NBA.
16. He started at 19 out of
And
the
he's
University of Texas.
And he's 36 years old. Hey, we just got a few more minutes left. Derek, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Haven't you just haven't gone into the UTSA Hall of Fame college basketball? Tony Bennett, the coach at the University of Virginia, won a national title there. Very successful coach. He suddenly retired a couple of weeks ago. Just college basketball is right around the corner. And he was saying the game today is not for him, talking about the NIL and the transfer portal. And he says somebody else can do it. I don't want to do it anymore. Your thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of these guys that have been, I'll say the coaches that have been the cream of the crop, they don't like it being an even playing field. We look at it, Mike Krzyzewski quit. Nick Saban quit. A lot of these guys are quitting because now they don't get all the cream of the crop players, I'll say. And they don't like the playing field being even. And I just feel like in his situation, Tony Bennett, I think he quit for two reasons. One, he didn't like everyone catching up to his team. And then the other one is he knew his team wasn't going to be very good this year. If you really look at it, they weren't. They're not going to be a very good team this year.
This is what he said. He said the game in college, the game basketball, he said it's become more a professional game. The game in college athletics is not in a healthy spot.
Ricky, did they say that when these coaches were getting these $1 million gym shoe deals?
He did.
See, that's what I'm talking about. All these euphemisms for I no longer have absolute power.
That's
what I say. Yeah.
I cannot hold this over a kid's head saying, you have nowhere to go. Only way you're going to get any kind of money is play for me.
That's what I say. Yeah.
That is the deal right there. It's plain and simple. What's your NIL guy, Ricky? He said this and he predicted this. He said there will be a wave of coaches leaving because they cannot hold it over. People said Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Saban, all these cats rolling out of here because they no longer can just rule the roost like they had in the past.
Yeah, they no longer have control.
Yeah, Mr. Tree, I'm sorry.
Right, no control whatsoever.
You don't see black coaches leaving.
Nope.
Nobody knows.
We used to not have control. We used to
get them leaving, man. And then they mad at Deion because he's brought so much money to Colorado. But Deion is a guy, people don't like him. And that's some of those coaches. I heard y'all talking about Dan Lanning earlier before I came on. And we remember the situation last year with Colorado and Oregon. So a lot of these coaches are used to having everything in their way. Lincoln Riley, a lot of these guys, the Lane Kiffins, they're used to this game being all about them. And it's changing now. It's not about them anymore. It's about the Antonio Pierces, the D'Amico Ryans. It's becoming an even playing field. And let's just be honest about it. A lot of those people don't like it.
No.
But is it anything? I have no problem with these kids making money. Should have been that way. But is there anything in the system that you would tweak or maybe try to enhance to make it a little better?
I don't know how you fix it, Ricky, because now you look at it, a lot of these players are doing things for their brand, to build their brand. And I complained about it the other day on Facebook. We're getting away from the sportsmanship aspect, and we're getting more into the me world now. So I don't know how you fix it, but it kind of saddens me because some of the guys, player and the ladies, are making lots of money. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you got the ones who aren't the more known or more popular, aren't getting paid the way they should be getting paid. And so I don't know how they make it where they can meet kind of in the middle. But I don't think it's fair to the ones on what they call the lower end of the spectrum, not being able to reap the benefits because they've been misused by the NCAA all these years as well. The Miles Brand type people, I'm tired of them. Oh, you hear me, Tim. I'm tired of these people getting over. They've been getting over on these athletes for years and years and years. And I'm glad that my man from UCLA finally spoke up. What's my man from UCLA? The first one that got this started about Neil.
Charles O'Bannon?
Yes, O'Bannon. Yes. And then the Michigan Wolverines, the freshman team with Jalen and Chris Webber and all those. So I was glad they spoke up. But that's going to be an interesting how you fix that. I don't know, but it does need to be fixed.
Well, the NCAA, I think they make several $1 billion from the Final Four. They make most of their money for the year. I had been making it for the year. I think was with the basketball tournament. It may be the playoffs will rival it this year where they got a 12-team playoff. But the basketball tournament was where they made this money hand over fist, and the players, would get beats and watches.
Yeah.
For playing in the tournament.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, you mentioned the coaches that walked away. I can't leave out Jim Boeheim.
Oh, please. Yes. Seriously.
About it, you know it's about money. Just look at the Big Ten now. UCLA and USC.
And the Big Ten.
Come on.
And
man.
Oregon. Isn't that crazy? Oregon.
Downtown Atlanta, there's a Cal billboard. University of California talked about the ACC in Atlanta. Okay? That's insane. You can look off of Cal's campus into the Pacific Ocean, but they're in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
And now they're looking over the varsity.
Yeah. That's all they do. Yes. The billboard's right there by the varsity, as a matter of fact. Right there in the Tex campus. So, it's just insane.
Hey, just make sure y'all get out and vote.
Done.
Hey, Dave, one more thing.
Done.
Already done. One more thing before we go. I was reading this thing about my man in Minnesota. Oh gosh, said he could hang with Michael Jordan back in the day.
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
Edwards said, "Yeah."
Then he woke up in a cold sweat.
He said, "I'd match up well with MJ." Anthony Edwards said he would match up well with MJ. Of course, Anthony Edwards said, "I'm gonna be the number one option on the Dream Team too."
Anthony Edwards is proof about young people not studying, and it's not all of them, but it's far too many that don't study the history of the game. And you're really insulting the game when you talk about Michael was the only guy who had skill back then. I guess the guys like Dominique and Larry Bird and Larry Nance and on and on and on. I can go on and on. You're basically taking away the credit from them, but that just comes from this social media era, saying things to get more notoriety and, as I said, build your brand. That's all that comes from. Just something to say to be heard, but not studying the history of the game. And I hope these young people don't emulate Anthony Edwards. I hope they actually start checking out the history of the game, and they'll find out that there was way more to the game than Michael Jordan, Steph Curry. This game is going on now since for 69 years or 79 years, I believe, 1945. And so they just need to start studying the game more studying and less talk.
Well, no, what he needs to do is say, take a time machine back in the 80s where Bill Laimbeer will be on you, where Rick Mahorn would be on you, with the guy in New York,
and Oakley.
Charles Oakley would be on you. These kids don't get hit enough to talk about basketball players, because if you blow on them, it's a foul. Now it's all about
Tim, we're building his brand. That's what he wants. People to talk about it. And then he can go on social media. He get all these likes and clicks on TikTok and all these other social media. I think sometimes these young people just say stuff to be heard and to grow their brand, their individual brand, and they don't mean half the stuff they say. It sounds good.
No, I think they mean it, because I saw a thing Sunday where he was sitting there talking to Jefferson, the receiver for the Vikings, saying, we're next. We're the next guys here, because this guy's like, Jefferson is no Randy Moss by any stretch of the imagination. And, Edwards, I don't know who he thinks he's superseding in Minnesota, but he's just talking about like, you know, we're the stars now, and it needs to be a little bit more humility.
Can I say this, Ms. Tree, with you on the air? Anthony Edwards, and it's not to be offensive to anyone, Anthony Edwards can't carry Michael Jordan's jock strap.
Wow. I'm not offended by that, sir.
Anthony Edwards should be, because I mean it.
I just think, you know, they're all trying to, like, to your point, they're all trying to get attention.
It is.
It's attention by what they say. It's attention by what they wear and their fits, and they go through the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's just, it's all about, you know, attention.
The attention is good. You can still get that attention, but by being respectful to the game. And that's what I just want these guys to start being. No player that's ever played is bigger than the game. And that's what I want a lot of these young people. It's not all of them. Anthony Edwards is just in a group, but there's the other guys that don't feel that way, to actually study their history. So I'm not going to go off on all the young guys, but the ones that don't study, just start studying the history of the game.
Quickly, D, we got 1 minute. At UTSA, you're 6'8" and long. You're a long 6'8". You played a lot in the mid post at UTSA, and then went to the NBA and became a 2 guard.
Well, I played on the post a lot, mainly my freshman year. My last 2 years, I moved out to the wing a lot more and just tried to be inside and outside. So I always worked on my ball handling skills, even when I was a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. And as I continued to grow, my story in Georgia is kind of the same. We both worked on our ball handling. And I didn't want to ever be the guy, Ricky, was somebody where I rebound the ball and have to give the ball to the point guard. I didn't ever want to be that guy, and I wasn't going to.
So you were like Tim. You didn't like the pass, did it?
I got paid to shoot. I got paid to score. I mean,
the black hole, brother. Once
when you want to do what gives you the best option to win. And my coach became smart enough in my last 2 years to do what was best to give us the best opportunity to win. I'll give up the ball, but you also got to remember this part. If I'm playing with a guy that I know is a 40% shooter and I'm a 56% shooter, I'm going to give it to him occasionally, but I'm going to take the most shots. I mean, that's just common sense.
I hear you on that, brother. So that's how you get in the Hall of Fame. That's
right.
How you get jersey.
You do that little calculus right there. 40%, 59%.
That's good.
The more shots I took, from my freshman year, I shot 52%. My sophomore year, I'm getting more touches. I shot 54%. Then my junior year, my last year, I shot 56%. So I was taking good shots. I mean, but I deserved to take more shots because I was making the most. It wasn't to slight my teammates. We were trying to win.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, D, once again, congratulations. And you can see Derek and me on As Good as It Gets. We're going to get our show back up and running now that basketball's here. And for Tim Turner and Tree McDougal, I'm Rickey Hampton. D. Gerb, are you guys freezing up on me?
No, I hear you clearly.
Okay, well, good. All right, then. Great show. Thank you so much, Derek. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for inviting me. Y'all have a good night, Tim, Ms. Tree. Y'all have a fantastic night.
All right, thank you. Be kind to yourself and others. See ya.
Wow, I like that. Ricky, have a good night, my man.
Good night.